Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Peace to the so-called Black nation who are actually the biblical Israelites. It is me, brother Micah, here with the first episode of this new show that I'm doing, man. Right? This show is called Black Reaction, right? Now, even though this show is called Black Reaction, what I'm really giving you guys is my reaction to various games, news, right, and events in the world from an Israelite perspective, man, right? The so-called negroes are the biblical Israelites. That's what's happening in the world. That's the world's biggest secret, right? And my job and my goal is to um, reveal that truth to as many Black people as possible, man, right? In order to encourage them to return to their true lifestyle and ancestry, man, right? Their true lifestyle being to follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God listed in the Bible, and to stop following religions and the philosophies of demons in this demonocracy, man, right? Um, and to that effect, I'll be critiquing every single one of these games, movies, etc from a spiritual perspective, man, from actually a holy perspective, from the perspective of whether or not these things are pleasing to the Most High God. Because our God says the friend of the world is his enemy, man, right? So we got to be careful, you know, whose friendships we nurture, man, because nurturing friendliness with various people and products and accepting certain things, as good and normal is actually against the Most High God, right? He tells you in, I believe it's First Corinthians 10:31, whatever you do, whether you eat or drink, do everything to His glory, right? So when we play games, we play to His glory, man. When we watch movies, we watch to His glory. When whatever we do, man, we go to the beach, we go to the beach to the glory of the Most High. We have a barbecue, you get the picture, right? So, with that intro out of the way, let's talk about this Oblivion Remastered, man, right? Now, the internet is going crazy, and these Edomites, so-called Caucasians, so-called white people, who the Most High calls Edomites in the Bible. He also calls them the devil and Satan in Revelation 12, verse 1 to verse 10. He tells you they are the people that destroy the world, and he tells you he's going to destroy them all in Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18, and tells you that the whole faith of the so-called Negro is the anticipation of the destruction of their oppressor, man, right? And that can be found in Revelation 13, verse 9 to 10, man, you know? So these Edomites, right? Which is what I'll refer to them as now, from what I will refer to them to from now on, because that's who they are. So these Edomites absolutely love this game, man, right? It's like their wet dream when this game came out, right? Because they absolutely love it. Why do they love it? Well, I covered in a previous video on this same channel how video games are generally not made for so-called Negroes or anybody else for that matter. They're usually made for their biggest market, which is so-called white people, man. Edomites, so-called Caucasians. That's who these games are made for. And so, of course, it's going to contain within it things that feed their ego, their culture, and their likes, man. Which is what? Magic, right? Because they're wizards and witches and warlocks, right? It's gonna feed into that. It's gonna feed into the so-called white man being a hero and a savior of the world, right? This is an old colonial idea, and something that they push big time in their culture, man, in order to keep their own people feeling superior and the rest of the world worshiping them, right? The scriptures even tell you the whole world is going to worship the beast and his image, man, right? Talking about the so-called white man, and you can get that from Daniel chapter 7, verse 18 to 24, and Daniel 8, verse 18 to the end, right? You learn that the so-called white man is the beast. How do we know that? Well, they come from the Greek. The Greek comes from the Edomite. They're Edomites, and Daniel tells you that the Greeks were the beast, right? And the image of the beast is white Jesus, man. You understand? Because yeah, anyway, the image of the beast is white Jesus. That's what it means, what the Bible means when it says the whole world is gonna worship the beast and the beast's image, man. Right? So that being said, um, these games are gonna push that, right? Because they're not made for you, man. They're not made considering you, righteousness, or holiness, man. These games are all about wickedness, most of them, right? Especially the fantasy games from the West. In general, the fantasy games, right? Because they push magic as something that's good, but the Most High tell you, you shall not suffer a witch to live. So magic is evil. You understand? But these games are all focused on being some kind of magical savior. And Oblivion is chief, one of the chiefs in that sin, man. Right? So, the internet is on fire, man. Right? The Edomites, absolutely love this game. They have nothing but praise uh, for it, or I should say, they mostly have praise for the game. When the truth of the matter, um, from the perspective, well, yeah, the truth of the matter from the Most High is that this game sucks, man. This game fails. You understand? Right off the bat, because it casts the Edomite, the dragon, as the hero, right? You can't you have no choice in this game when you play as to whether or not, you help or hinder Martin Septim from becoming um, from achieving his mission, right? The whole premise of the game is to help a devil to become a greater devil to defeat another devil. So it's all demon wars, right? Masked in confusion. So you think, oh, there's a so-called good side there's a good side and a bad side in this game. This game is all about demon wars. It's one demon warring against another demon, right? And you participate in that joyfully and sink hundreds and thousands of hours of your life into this when it cannot glorify the Most High in the slightest. You understand? So, um, even when you join the side factions, right? You join the Thieves Guild. Well, you shouldn't join the Thieves Guild, to be honest. Um, so I'll just even leave that out, right? There's no ability in this game to slay your enemies and to really role play. To, for example, slay um your enemies and take their property as loot or booty. They consider it stealing, right? There's no when you join the Dark Brotherhood, you're serving a demon or demons. When you join the Fighters Guild, same thing, right? You're serving demons, man, right? Because the head of the Fighters Guild is a demon, you know, a devil, Satan, man, right? Now, Fighters Guild play might be the only sort of saving grace of this game, because in reality, we have to go and serve the devil and Satan represented by the physical manifest in a physical manifestation by the so-called Caucasian, which is the Edomite. You have to serve them to get any money or to get ahead, right? So on that level, the Fighters Guild can go on if you really want to play this game. You can play as the Fighters Guild, right? But um, if you're gonna go about trying to, and you can play the arena, right? But if you're gonna go about trying to finish this game in any way, you're working for the devil, man. You understand? And more important than that is that you're glorifying the devil. You're glorifying Satan, man, right? By playing through this story. So is a game worth $50, just to be able to have some fun in the Fighters Guild? Well, I would say no, right? I played this game, um, and I'm not impressed, right? It's very one-sided, right? If there was the ability to work against the things happening in the game and avoid, well, you can avoid magic, which is good. But if there was a way to work against Martin Septim and them, then this game would be good because then you could express yourself as a player, man, whether you approve of what's going on or you don't approve of what's going on, right? But when you pick up this game, you are now corroborating or collaborating with devils, man, right? So all in all, Oblivion Remastered, on a spiritual level is already a failure, right? Um, if you look at it from a pure gameplay perspective, again, same limitations from the old Oblivion, right? Um, you can't, you don't really have choice, or you don't really have an effect on the story of the game, right? You have the same inability to clamor, right? So, your movements are a little bit cooler than before, but nothing to warrant a $50 investment, you know? And that's my take, right? On this Oblivion, man, right? What else can we talk about from a gameplay standpoint? I mean, from a gameplay standpoint, you do get known within the universe uh, of the game, which is kind of cool, right? But how much influence do you really have once you get known, right? Not much, It's not like, all of a sudden you got servants and you're able to build anything in that particular way. You're basically just a errand boy in this game, right? So they haven't fixed the problems. Plus, they put it on this Unreal Engine 5, which looks good and is just a crash fest. Okay? Unreal Engine 5 is about to destroy the gaming industry. Okay? Because you can create these games really quickly, and then, you gotta download them at 120 gigs, man. And then your game crashes because of memory leaks, you know, and just yeah, memory leaks, man, and too much processing going on because of uh, the lack of optimization which exists within this particular engine, right? So, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that, but there I am walking at the bottom of the ocean, right? So, I mean, is this game everything that uh, is it everything, all the greatness that the Edomites are saying that it is? Is it as great as they say it is? No, man. But I didn't expect it to be because it's a remaster of a game that had a whole bunch of flaws, and the game still has a whole bunch of flaws. Now, is any piece of software gonna be perfect? No, right? But Eastern developers, have showed us that you can make a game super cool, man, and you can make a game super engaging, and you can make the player be very influential in the world. Vampire has done that, has showed us that. That's a from Spiders Games, right? Eastern European developer, if I remember correctly. Um, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has showed us that, right? Even though I don't support that game either because, again, it's another worship service to the Edomite, man, right? Why isn't there character creation in RPGs by default, right? Why do we have to be a so-called white man or so-called white woman, man, to be a hero or to be a main character in these games, right? Well, I know why. It's because that's the main audience. So they don't give a damn about you. If you don't like the game, to hell with you. So I'm gonna make these videos critiquing that attitude. And if they don't like it, and if you don't like it, to hell with you, right? Um, it's a free world, and I am free, right? Free from the mental blocks that prevent me from criticizing my oppressor, the devil and Satan, right? Even though I'm in physical chains and subject to rent and mortgages and taxes and all these things, right? I am mentally free, and that freedom is priceless, man, as you shall see, and it will lead to eternal life, right? So, anyways, that's all I got for this Oblivion remastered. This game is nothing, you know, not worth $50. Um, Same old broken game in a new skin, and to hell with Oblivion. You understand? Start dropping games where um players can express themselves, right? Fully, right? Being on one side or the other, helping or hindering the main quest, right? Dealing with people however they feel like, right? Obsidian has done it in the past with games like The Outer Worlds, even though that game has its flaws with um, the level scaling system, but Obsidian has the right idea. And I was very happy, let me just give them a plug today, to see that in Outer Worlds 2, they're going to get rid of the level scaling, right? This is old game design, right? This level scaling nonsense, right? We're in the next gen of gaming. Games are supposed to be smarter, right? Game devs are supposed to be smarter, right? And make smarter choices for more enjoyment of the player, right? And removing level scaling is a smart choice, right? Because it ensures that the player is able to enjoy the game a lot more, right? Outward is a good example, of a game that has removed level scaling. It has its flaws in the same white supremacy hero complex story, right? But gameplay wise, that thing is a masterpiece, right? And right now I'm exploring because it seems like I'm actually able to play that game righteously in one quest area. Um, so I'm exploring that, and you guys will probably see a video on that in a bit. But yeah, shout out to Obsidian, right? For giving the player influence in the world, man. I remember playing Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas is probably the greatest RPG of all time because of the sheer amount of freedom that the player has to express themselves, man. I don't like somebody, I can just cut that head off, man, right? Somebody did me something bad in the game, I could get revenge, right? Most companies are afraid to touch that. This is a video game, man. This is not real life. Nobody's going out here massacring anyone for a video game, right? But to infuse the same hypocrisy of society into video games is not a good look, right? And I mean, they don't have to change it because at the end of the day, their audience, um, that this is right up their alley, right? They're okay with it. But if you're talking about actually designing good games, I'm not the only one who feels this way. I saw this other, it was actually a popular game designer or a game developer that talked about how limiting the player's freedom is never good. And yet you have Bethesda progressively, releasing Fallout New Vegas, you know, which is legendary, and then progressively reducing the amount of freedom that players have, right? How does that make any sense? And people are still hailing though that old game as one of your best games ever, right? Get the point, get the picture, right? Stop acting like a scared little girl, man, and take some risks, okay? Stop publicizing your companies and destroying your creativity in the process, right? Or not, I don't care either way, to be honest. Like, maybe don't take my advice because I really don't care whether your company does well or not, right? I'm just commenting on this because I like good games. I like when companies make great games. Um, and I'm here to highlight those great games, and I'm here to terrorize um, those not making great games by pointing out the BS that they keep escaping with, because their core audience, the Edomites, right, who the Most High hates, have such low standards, right? So, and I'm here to show so-called negroes, the biblical Israelites, and you other nations who fear God. I'm here to show you guys, or to encourage y'all to stop accepting the subpar standard. All right. So with that, all praise to the Most High in the name of Yahweh Shai, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.